Okay, this video is that the House of Representatives is in the process of passing a bill that it looks like it's going to make the Bible illegal, especially a lot of the New Testament. So apparently this bill passed. I don't know exactly how it all works, if there's a chance to refute it, but at least it passed on some preliminary basis. And this is in the House of Representatives, and what they basically said, it's in regard to all the protests on the college campus, but what is commonly done in politics is they'll take one legitimate issue, it's something that is real and legitimate, and then they will make it such a wide and expansive wording of the bill that a lot of other bad things will be done with it. For example, if you look like, remember, 2001, okay, on September, the 11th day. The Patriot Act after that, it sounded like a reasonable thing in regards to the problem that had happened, but it was worded in such a way that it could be opportunistically used to basically increase surveillance and other unkind things on the population. And so what I'm trying to tell you is this is a typical thing in politics. They say don't let any crisis go to waste. They'll take one legitimate problem and they'll turn it into exploitation to do bad things in other ways. And that's exactly what this sounds like. And a lot of prominent people are speaking out about it, and everybody should know about it. This is going to be used to make the Bible illegal, because I've told you a long time ago, the proper way to think about the Democratic Party, it is the American Communist Party. The number one goal of communism is to get rid of Christianity, especially the white Christian people. The reason they want to do this is they're still pissed off about the Declaration of Independence and the United States Constitution, which was put forth by a bunch of white Christian men. So basically, the attitude of the communists is that the only thing that could prevent worldwide communism, there's only one thing, and that is Christianity. Okay, so their number one priority is get rid of Christianity, and especially the white Christian men, because they're the ones who spoke up most strongly for freedom and who put forth the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. Their attitude about women is women love their children so much, you just tell them, look, do as we say or we'll make life bad for you. But the problem is your kids are screwed if there's communism, okay? There'll be no jobs for them and there'll be other bad things. So you can't win with communism. Just study it. Read about the countries where there was communism and you will see why, that's why in Russia, they put all these men in concentration camps. They end their lives. They give them no opportunity. Tons of them become alcoholics. It's really bad. Okay, just compare. I studied all the painting in Russia in the 1800s versus in the 1900s. They had tons of beautiful, magnificent art, lots of great literature in the 1800s. In the 1900s, after 1970, nothing. Okay, it's just a wasteland. And I've known people who've lived there and who lived under it in the Eastern European stuff. It's a disaster. So the Democrats want to force communism on the United States. And people are stupid enough to believe their nonsense. Nothing good will come from it. Once the white Christian man is pushed out, and the way they're going to push him out is if you look around the world, there's only about 7% of the world's population is white Christians, okay? And then of that, 3.5% is white Christian men. And they believe that if they can just side that group, that all the other groups will be easy to handle. Their attitude is that all the other groups are either too small or too weak or too easy to control or too stupid, that they can control all of them. They think that everyone else is easy to control. And that's why there's scapegoat. Why do you think there's affirmative action? Affirmative action is not to help minorities. I'm a minority. I'm probably the smartest minority doctor in the whole world. Does anyone ever call me to give academic lectures on study skills or medical topics or health topics or anything? Never. And I can tell you, it's because they don't care about helping the minorities. What they want to do is, first of all, keep out the white Christians. And then secondly, what they want to do is get puppets. They need puppets to do all kinds of things. If you look around and look at American institutions, tons of them, okay? Academic and otherwise, and you will see puppet after puppet after puppet. And that's because that's someone who's easy to control. No one ever calls me or asks me to do anything because they know I'm sort of a hard-headed Christian and I do what I think is right and I have a big ego and I always want to try to pursue the best I can do. So they hate people like that. No one ever gives me an award or talks about me or anything. I just tell you that because that's what affirmative action is all about. It's not about helping minorities. It's about screwing over the white Christians. And there's tons of things that all go towards that. Like when you hear all these things, all these psyops about cultural stuff, It's not because they care about any of those groups either. They just find them useful to destroy Christianity, destroy the traditional family. And it's easy to do it with open borders. If you look at like Europe, for example, there's been recent lectures. I mean, this has been going on for years. All they do is flood these small European countries where you have a relatively small white Christian population, and you flood them with people that are hostile to the country. And then you can take away all their rights, and eventually you can force them into small ghetto-like areas and finish them off. Okay, and that's the plan. All right. I mean, I'm sorry to say that, but they feel that as soon as they've got that done, the white Christian man is destroyed. And you look at like McKinsey Corporation, white Christian men, they're not allowed to go to executive training. Basically, they're not allowed to advance. And so-called, is this a privilege? Is this white privilege? The fact that you're not allowed even to apply for executive training, you're not allowed to even apply. Like, I laugh because my father's from Ireland, okay, and the Irish have been the slaves of the British for over about 1,000 years. And then when they came to the United States, the Brits had a lot of power here, and you would see signs all over the place: Irish need not apply. Irish need not apply. Okay, so I tell you that because that's how it is. And now we're seeing something that's kind of similar. Initially the Catholics were smart enough that they realized they weren't welcome in the public school system, so they made a separate Catholic school system. All right. So now people would be smart to have alternative ways of doing business and getting along. But what we're seeing is all this modern computer technology, which people at first thought, oh, isn't this great? This high tech, it's going to make our lives better. No, it's just going to be used for communistic purposes to control the population more. Why do they think they want you in an electric car? Because they can control how far you travel before you go. You got to sit for 2 hours to charge your battery. So you're pretty much limited to just going home and coming back, because it'd be so painful to travel with that delayed filling. They want you using a credit card so they can track all your purchases. They want you always having to sign into things so they can track everything you do. They want, you're not allowed to take your battery out of your phone so they can track you everywhere you go. And I think in the future they're going to track people based on those apps. Like I said, my guess, I don't have any proof of this, but just from what I know about how things go down, they're going to use those Halo app or other Christian apps to track the Christians and do unfriendly things to them. So anyways, this is a pretty big deal. That the House of Representatives of the United States of America, a previously free country with a Constitution and a First Amendment, supposedly in the past guaranteeing free speech, now saying that it's going to be illegal to quote the Bible. And if you don't think it is, you're not reading. There's a pretty famous, pretty smart people that agree exactly with what I'm saying, and this is exactly what it is. You'll take a legitimate problem, and then they add other things to it that really aren't related to what the problem is that the bill was made for. They're two separate issues. And I can tell you, they've already, if you start reading about what's going on, you'll read all about FEMA camps. You'll read about a new ICD-9 code or CPT code for death by guillotine. You'll read about the FEMA camps having those machines. And you'll say, well, why are they there? And you'll read about people saying that it should be against the law to have a false idol. Well, if the Bible is illegal, then to believe in the Bible is to have a false idol, and therefore potentially in the future punishable by, being put in imprisonment, punishable potentially by FEMA camp. The stuff I'm telling you about, this is not my idea. This is all stuff that's easily accessible for anybody who actually goes and reads about it. Just search around the internet. You'll find all the stuff. It's been around for decades. I told you previously about the Georgia Stones guide, Stones. Okay, that's been said for a long time. The population has to decrease by 93%. And in order to do that, they're going to have to do a lot of cruel things. And in order to do that, they have to get rid of all the powerful people that have any conscience whatsoever, and make everybody sort of a sniveling, just, oh, please, spare me, give me enough food to survive another day, and I don't care what you do. They need to get society to that point, and they're pushing towards it. By having massive open borders, they're going to just ramp up. Like you look in Europe, for example, crime is off the charts. It's basically an imported problem. And places that used to have next to zero crime. Look at Japan. In Japan, where they don't have all this diversity, in Japan, you can walk around at 1 o'clock in the morning. Children can in the big cities, okay? That's how it is. Versus you can't walk around in daylight in the big cities in America. A kid by themselves, no way. So all of this is sad. It's unfortunate, but it's reality. So people should be talking about this because this sounds like the first step and the kind of stuff that was happening in the 1930s. So hopefully this is going to be addressed, and it's going to be prevented from being used to make the Bible illegal, because that's going to mean if the Bible's illegal, then Christianity is illegal, okay? And I think that's the goal of this.